don't like new things. I don't like it when new people come in. It is never a good thing.
Who's the new guy? I don't trust him. What's his purpose going to be?
Who's this new character? I mean, he's such a character. Such a big persona that's not relatable.
Hello and welcome back to We Speak Dispatch. I'm John here today with our usual cast of suspects. We have Doug in the upper.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Leslie joining
How's it
us from the
going?
West Coast. And we
Represent.
have Amen. And hello. And then we have a very new guest, actually new times two, Derek from Arizona. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Derek.
My name's Derek. I'm a newer dispatcher. I officially started in January, the end of January of this year. And ironically, last Tuesday, I just got my final blessing and signed off the training. And
Congratulations.
Good going.
Finally. Yeah.
Wow.
How long was that program? How long was that?
It's split up into phases. So normally for new dispatchers, how our department do is there's 4 phases. The first 2 phases are all phones. Most of the first phase is like non-emergency and stuff like that. And then phase 2 is non-emergency and 911. And then the last 2 phases are radio training with,
wow.
Phone, doing phones when you're not on radio.
Cool. Wow.
So are you doing double phones and radio together at one console, which is why they have everything as part of one program?
Yeah, it's at one console, but like we work 4 10-hour shifts. So typically half of our shift is on radio and the other half is working phones.
Awesome.
So what's your background that got you from where you were into dispatch?
For the department I work for now, for almost over 3 years, I was a detention officer.
Oh,
okay. So I got into that, and then just kind of got tired of being in the county jails for 10 hours and still wanted to do something in law enforcement. So one of my best friends is one of our dispatchers, and he was like, hey, we're hiring. And so I did a bunch of sit-alongs up there with him, and
neat.
just kind of fell in love with it.
And you didn't have to see dirty people or
Yeah, you don't have to touch the dirty people anymore. You just get
dirty,
to talk to them.
Just
the phone now.
Just dirty keyboards.
That's right.
That's a given.
And
So
dirty
is it-
monitors.
Yeah.
How many
Smudges.
do they have at your agency over there? How many do they got?
How many what?
How many dispatchers you guys got?
We have about a little over 20, maybe 25, and then 6 supervisors.
Awesome.
You have
And do you
20
do
dispatchers
police,
and
fire,
6
and medical?
supervisors? Good Lord.
Yeah.
We're just coming at you really quickly.
I know.
Yeah, we so 911 rings into us first, and if it's a medical or a fire call, we transfer it over to our fire dispatchers who do medical as well.
Okay.
Wow. Are you fully staffed right now?
In there, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of overtime opportunities, but
I would think so.
Which is
Now
nice.
with the interesting thing, well, not necessarily interesting, but the good thing is you came from detention or corrections, so you were kind of already molded into the world of public safety.
yeah.
For that, was the transition easy for you
It
from
was.
detention into dispatch?
Yeah, it was a lot. Like I already knew all the police codes, a little bit on how CAD worked, just because we had, the MDCs on my end, and then the dispatch CAD is somewhat similar on how they look. And then I actually grew up in the city I work in, so geographically I know the city super well.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
That's a huge
Except if you're
benefit.
working in the jail and you get arrest people that are, has that ever happened?
Yeah, I've definitely booked some people that I went to high school with, and
Oh my word.
So when you ask them, how's everything going? They're like, not good.
Not really that great.
You tell me.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Wow. So because you kind of came in from the agency, did you think the training program was what you thought it was going to be, or were there things that you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that we were going to be doing all this?
I didn't realize how many people call 911 for ridiculous things.
Mm,
That's
Never knew, like,
job security.
yeah.
Yeah.
true.
But my prior experience definitely helped me out with the training program. Normally there's 4 phases, like I said, but I actually only did 3 because they kind of they're like, you're fine, you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, as a detention officer, did you talk on the radio to the people that you now work for?
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
All right. In my world, detention officer, it's a sheriff's department that houses a jail. And when they key up a radio, they have their own quote unquote dispatcher
Oh,
in the control booth. So we will still receive their emergency activations on the radio at my center, but we have no talk with them other than the civil enforcement that are out and about, serving civil papers or civil summonses.
wow.
So that's why I was asking.
I thought you guys had those people in your comm, because you have such a huge comm center, John. I thought they were in your same comm center. They're not there?
No.
Oh, wow. I thought
No.
they were.
Interesting.
Wow. So,
Wow.
do you guys do EMD, EFD, EPD, or do you guys do that or not?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
You
we
do?
have we have a lot of like the detectives and other officers that are like assigned to our like CISM and crisis team. If we ever have a critical incident, they'll check with all the officers, and then they'll also come up to dispatch and check on us. And
Oh, nice.
we're actually required once a year to go see a counselor or like a therapist for 1 hour.
Really?
Even if we don't have any
Wow.
critical incidents. Yeah.
And you're required to do that.
Yeah,
Wow.
completely.
Leslie, I
The-
thought that's something similar to what your agency did.
Yeah, we have, it's called the War Room, so wellness
The
and
War Room.
resilience. Yeah, and it's something where it was, I don't remember if it was required or it was highly recommended, but just to check in once a year, just to take away some of that stigma of, do I go and talk to somebody or not? If you know that, well, everybody else is going to do it, okay. But Derek, is that a fairly new program? Did you have it as a detention officer, or is it just?
As a detention officer, no, but I know the sworn officers, I think they had to do it every 2
Oh,
years.
wow.
And then
Okay.
dispatchers have to do once a year.
Are people taking advantage of that? Do they go and?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And
Wow, that
and
is
another
good.
cool thing our city does is we also get 10 free therapy sessions, even if it's not
Okay.
work-related incidences. Like if you wanted to go
Wow.
see a counselor,
Yeah.
the city pays for 10 free ones a year.
Wow.
That's
We
awesome.
only got 7, so you get 10. All right, that's the way it's going to be. All right.
Inflation.
That's right.
Inflation. Do you
That's
guys have you had
inflation.
any problems with social unrest in your town?
Not really, not too bad. Phoenix, our neighboring agency, definitely had a lot of stuff going on downtown. That our
Really?
SWAT team, they went down and helped out because Phoenix SWAT was going 24/7
Oh, geez.
Um, during the whole George Floyd situation.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
the SWAT team kind of swapped out with them. And
So does that mean you were kind of like really new at that point, right? When that was all happening?
Yeah, the county jail was like the main entrance was shut down, and we had to go this back way because of all. Yeah, it was a whole-
Wow.
My gosh.
Welcome to the department.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you like going from what I'll call the field into now dispatch? I know it's something you liked when you were doing the sit-alongs and you've done that, but now actually living it and working the shift work and working with the squad of mates that you have, have you found that transition seamlessly? Are you wishing like, oh, I like patrolling and having a little bit more freedom without being tethered by a headset?
I thought when I first started, I'm like, man, what am I doing? I used to drive around all day, and now I'm gonna sit in a chair all day. But now, since I'm actually doing it, like it's the hot seat. There's a lot of adrenaline. As soon as one of your officer keys up with a foot pursuit, and it's like, oh, here we go, and you kind of feel like you're there with them. And
Mhm.
there's definitely a lot of adrenaline, and makes sitting in a chair staring at a screen for 10 hours like actually
Yeah.
fun at times.
Are you on day shift, evening shift, midnight?
Right now I'm on like a swing shift, like a 16 to 02.
Mm.
Oh, that's
But
good.
next
Good.
week,
Okay. Well, that is your busy time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you're really rocking the chair there. So that's cool.
yeah.
But you
And,
said you were corrections and you were driving around patrol cars?
so yeah, we're basically detention. We're actually called police services officers, but no one knows what that means. So I just say detention officer.
Mm,
So
mhm.
we, like, when an officer arrests someone, let's say for a DUI on a traffic stop, I'll go to the scene and pick that person up, drive them.
Oh,
to the
really?
jail,
Oh, wow.
and then
Really? The officer? doesn't drive them like to the
Wow.
Sallyport jail.
That's full service right there.
I'm telling you.
But are you in a
Let me
van
call
then?
Escort one.
Yeah.
Can you come and get prisoner?
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have that with prisoner transport vans. Like if we went to did like a DUI thing someplace, drunk drivers,
Yeah.
we'd lock them all in this big van and drive it back to wherever. But did you drive a van or was it a patrol car?
We had vans as well. We normally we would go into our trucks. They're just F-150s basically. But if we had like a male and female, you know, there has to be like a separation.
Yeah.
Or if we
Somebody's riding in the bed of the truck. I guess.
Yeah.
Holding on, help.
no, we did have the paddy wagons too that could fit 11 people if it was, you know.
Wow.
Doesn't that seem kind of dangerous? I mean, did you have a gun?
No, we weren't armed.
Well,
So
you
what
know,
would the officer do if you're taking prisoner
Wave.
Doug to jail? And the officer has to write a report or that once you take him to the detention center, and you handle the booking aspect of things?
Yeah, so basically I
wow.
would drive the prisoner to our station, which is just like a processing center.
mhm.
So all the officers doing their case report and their like probable cause statement, I would be doing all the county pre-booking paperwork. And then once I got what I needed from the officer, I would drive down to county jail and book the person in. So the officer
Sounds-
can go down
Wow.
the road and get another.
So how was
Wow.
because it really does sound like that you were pretty established at your agency. So, you know, being new, yeah, there's still the training and it's still challenging, but you know, we've heard so many horror stories about how trainees are treated inside the
no.
comm center. Did you have any of that, or did everybody go, "Oh, it's just Derek"? You know,
Keeping in
we've known
mind
Derek
that-
for years.
Well, just keep in mind that we don't know where you work. So it's you can feel free.
Yeah.
No, I got lucky and all my trainers were people I know pretty much on a personal level. And
Oh.
actually one of my trainers was a sworn officer. And I helped out, not that I'm an FTO or anything that trains sworn officers, but he was training with another officer on my squad when I was on the road. And I was showing him some of the county pre-booking stuff. And then
Oh, cool.
for a couple of reasons, he decided not to be sworn and go up to dispatch. And he ended up being one of my trainers.
Wow.
Wow, that's super cool.
That's surprising because so many times we hear awful stories about trainees getting treated terribly.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's good though. Geez.
Do
Well,
you
coming
want-
from within. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I you know, because I think there's always that you've got to prove yourself time frame that you've got to come in.
Agreed.
And maybe because you've already had established those relationships and people knew you, that it was a little bit different. And I'm glad because
Yeah.
there's just been pretty much what happened before we started recording, you know, all the talk that we were doing, that we hear such just dramatic stories about how trainees are treated. And it's very refreshing to hear that you've been able to get through the process quickly and without a lot of drama. And hopefully is becoming a training officer something that you aspire to be sometime in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think actually after 2 years of being a dispatcher at our department, you have to be training people.
Oh, wow.
Mm,
You
okay.
have to. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a rotating list of.
A lot of mandatory over there in your department. You're gonna have to train somebody and go to therapy. So wow, that's a lot.
Well, trainers will need it with some trainees. So,
That's
you
true.
know,
That is true.
depending,
That is true.
depending on who it is. But I mean, I don't know you, Derek, but you seem like a very nice gentleman. It appears that you have the temperament for training.
Mhm.
Like I just get a good vibe from you, and I think a lot of people will be successful under your wing. I really
Yeah.
do.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I agree.
So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to be a dispatch and they come to you going, you've only been there a year. What would you tell them about being in dispatch? What would be your like, I think dispatch is this because of that, or whatever it might be for you?
Basically, don't let one call like ruin your whole day. Like you'll get that one person on the phone that just tries to ruin your whole day, and then you know, some people try to take it out on the rest of the calls they get the rest of the day. But it's like you just gotta, you know, it's public safety, and we're customer service based, basically, you know, and just keep going and keep grinding through it.
Please don't lose that as you go through your career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
my
want to have you
God.
back on here in a couple of years. You're like going, I hate people.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, where is that tipping point? Because I think so many of us present company excluded.
Of course.
Everybody starts with that very idealistic, I'm here to help people, I like people, I want to be a part of the solution. And then something happens along life's way. And Doug's kidding, but and maybe you've got them in your center, that there are people in your center right now that you're like, they suck the life out of the room as soon as they walk in. And you're like, how does that happen? And how can we make sure that it doesn't happen to me or, to you, your team, making sure that that's not allowed.
I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, it's in every center. I mean, some people deny it.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
No, everybody loves each other here. And then when you really talk to them, you're like, it's a weird way to love somebody, but okay. But it's out there. And it's just,
Oh, there's some
something-
loving going on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bum.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you just got to be cognizant of that could happen. And I
Yeah.
need to be aware of that and say, wait a minute, I loved this job at one point in my career. So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I mean, Leslie and I didn't do 30 years just because we were playing at it. I mean, we liked what
Yeah.
we did. So,
Right.
you know,
But
Did
I
you-
wonder
you go.
if Derek, you talk about that 10 sessions that you can go to, or that one mandatory check-in, if that's a great way to, to just have that pulse point of, okay, how am I doing? Hey, I'm going to make this, every May 1st, that's going to be my check-in date, and see how I'm doing, because it brings that thought process to your consciousness, because sometimes when you're not aware of it, it just slowly happens and you wake up one morning and go, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't
mean,
want to get into the business. Have you gone yet, Derek, to those sessions or the mandatory?
Not the mandatory one yet. No.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't had knock on wood, I haven't had a big critical incident yet that I would need.
Recording for We Speak Dispatch.
Yeah, that's a traumatic event. You're gonna need therapy after this.
And what do you like more, the phones or the radio?
I want to go with radio. Just-
Yeah, that's most.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, I don't, 10 hours of radio would be a lot. So like the mix is kind of okay. And, if it's super busy on radio, sometimes it's like, oh, let me just answer the phones for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like the mix, but I definitely lean towards liking radio a little bit more.
I think you made a
Agreed.
great thing by reaching out to us and saying, hey, I want to come and talk about, my new career out there. I think that's great. I mean, that shows
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you
who's
find
interested.
us?
I know a lot of my friends listen to podcasts, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's a dispatch podcast. And so I found you on Spotify one day, and
So no
That's awesome.
recommendations. You were just searching around, no recommendations, and it just popped up, huh?
That's very cool.
But will you recommend it to people now?
oh, absolutely.
I was gonna say. If
Now,
you say
Derek-
you're gonna knock them out. So it's
Yeah.
done.
Do you get a chance to go to any conferences or trainings or anything like that? Like, APCO's coming up here in August in California. You're going to be able to come?
I won't be able to. Actually, my best friend who kind of got me into this whole gig, and one of my supervisors is driving out there, so they will be there.
Driving.
just-
Wow.
Tell them to
Leslie and I
stop
will
by
be
our
there.
booth. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell them to stop by our booth and say Derek sent us.
Yeah, it's booth
Give you
number
some-
656. We'll be right there giving out a lot of stuff. So it's like,
All right, I'll let 'em know.
come by and check it out, or have your friends come by and check it out.
That's
Yeah.
Well, the
cool.
good thing is Arizona, you all have a really good state conference sometimes,
Yeah, that's
the
true.
local one. So you do some good training, but that segues into where you can find us online. If you're not talking about us or with us, you can find us on Spotify and iHeart and Apple iTunes. And well, our commercial person is offline right now. Where else, Doug and Leslie? I'm trying to think all those other
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter,
TikTok.
TikTok. It's all over the place, and we're trying to get the message out. So, Derek, if you tell your friends, hey, take a listen to this. If they want to join us, they could do it too. So it's an easy thing, and you got to hear a little behind the scenes before you even started filming today. So
Yeah.
Our secret.
that's right. That's all confidential.
All right. Well, it was great to have you, Derek. Thanks
Yes.
for reaching out
Yes.
and continue downloading on Spotify. We're always looking. We're countrywide. We're actually international.
Yeah.
We're in Cambodia and Canada and all across the world. I think
14
Australia just joined us.
I think Joyce said
14,000.
14,000 plays, 36 countries. I'm like,
Yeah,
There you go.
crazy.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
So
Awesome.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Thank you so much. for having me.
Fantastic. Yes.
Thanks,
Thanks
Derek.
for joining
It was
us.
awesome to talk to you.
Appreciate
And
it.
have a great next shift. Swing
Yeah.
shift, I should say.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Flowers.
Hi, this is Courtney, and you've been listening to another great episode of We Speak Dispatch, proudly sponsored by our friends at Zybex.